What happens when one of Hollywood's biggest stars walks onto a talk show set and everything goes completely sideways? What you're about to hear is one of the most intense television moments that almost never made it to air. This is the story of how Matt Damon ended up being escorted off Kelly Clarkson's show after a conversation that started friendly and ended in absolute chaos. Before we get into what actually went down, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling me which celebrity interview you think went too far. Now, let's get into this wild story. The studio lights were blazing as Kelly Clarkson welcomed her guest with that signature warm smile she's known for. Matt Damon walked out to thunderous applause, waving to the audience, looking every bit the movie star everyone expected. He settled into the guest chair, and Kelly started with what seemed like a simple question. "Matt, it's so great to have you here. You've been in this industry for decades now, and I have to ask, what keeps you grounded when you're surrounded by so much, Hollywood stuff?" Matt leaned back, a slight smirk crossing his face. "Well, Kelly, I think the real question is, what does grounded even mean in Hollywood? I mean, we throw that word around like it actually means something." Kelly laughed, thinking he was joking. "No, I'm serious though. Like, how do you stay connected to reality?" "Reality?" Matt repeated, his tone shifting. "You want to talk about reality, Kelly? With all due respect, you went from winning a singing competition to sitting in this chair. You think that's more real than what I do?" The audience went quiet. You could feel the energy in the room change instantly. Kelly's smile faltered for just a second before she recovered. "I'm not sure I understand what you're getting at, Matt. I'm saying that we all play a game here," Matt continued, his voice getting more intense. "You play the relatable host. I play the humble movie star. And we pretend like any of this matters outside these walls. But let's not pretend we're different. We're both selling something." Kelly shifted in her seat, clearly caught off guard. "Okay, well, I actually believe in connecting with people genuinely. That's not a game to me." "Really?" Matt challenged. "So when you ask your guests about their struggles, their personal lives, their vulnerable moments, that's all genuine, or is that what gets views?" The audience was dead silent now. Kelly's producers were frantically gesturing from off camera, but she pressed on. "Matt, I think you might be projecting something here. I actually care about the people who come on this show." "Projecting?" Matt laughed, but there was no humor in it. "That's a nice word. Here's another word. Performative. Everything we do is performative, Kelly. You perform empathy. I perform authenticity. And everyone at home eats it up." Kelly's face was turning red, and you could see her trying to maintain her composure. "You know what, Matt? I think maybe you're having a bad day, and that's okay. We all have them. But I don't appreciate you coming on my show and making assumptions about who I am." "Who you are?" Matt leaned forward. "Kelly, none of us know who we really are anymore. We've been playing characters for so long that the lines are blurred. And the fact that you're getting defensive about it just proves my point." "I'm not defensive." Kelly shot back, her voice rising slightly. "I'm confused about why you would come on a talk show if you think it's all fake. What's the point?" "The point," Matt said slowly, "is that someone needs to say it out loud. We're all complicit in this machine that grinds up authenticity and spits out content. You, me, every person who's ever sat in these chairs." Kelly took a deep breath, visibly trying to calm herself. "Okay, I hear what you're saying, but I disagree. I think there can be real moments in television. I think there can be genuine connection. Like this moment?" Matt asked, gesturing between them. "Is this genuine enough for you? Because right now, I'm being more honest than most of your guests ever are, and you're acting like I'm the problem." "You are being honest about how cynical you are," Kelly countered. "That doesn't make it truth. That makes it your perspective." "My perspective," Matt repeated. "Here we go with the relativism, Kelly. There are actual truths about this industry. The truth is that every single interview is manufactured. Every question is pre-planned. Every answer is calculated." Kelly's jaw tightened. "Not on my show. I go off script all the time. I ask questions based on the conversation." "Do you?" Matt challenged. "Or do you ask questions that you know will make your audience feel something?" There's a difference between spontaneous and strategic. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Kelly looked directly at Matt, her Texas accent getting stronger as her emotions rose. "You know what, Matt? I think you're confusing being provocative with being profound. Just because you're saying controversial things doesn't mean you're revealing some deep truth. And I think you're confusing niceness with authenticity," Matt fired back. "You can be the sweetest person in the room and still be playing a role. Maybe I am nice, Kelly said, her voice steady but firm. Did that ever occur to you? Maybe some people are actually decent and don't need to tear down everything to feel important. Matt sat back, studying her. That's what you think I'm doing? Trying to feel important. I don't know what you're trying to do, Kelly admitted. But whatever it is, it's not working. The audience stirred uncomfortably. Matt looked around at them, then back at Kelly. You want to know what's really happening here, Kelly? We're having the first real conversation that's ever happened on your show, and you can't handle it. Oh, I can handle it, Kelly said, her voice rising. What I can't handle is someone coming into my space and disrespecting not just me, but everyone who works here, everyone who watches by saying that what we do doesn't matter. I never said it doesn't matter, Matt clarified. I said it's not real. It's real to the people watching, Kelly insisted. It's real to the mom at home who needs to laugh after a hard day. It's real to the kid who sees someone who looks like them succeed. Just because you've become jaded doesn't mean the rest of us have to be. Matt shook his head. You're missing the point entirely. No, Matt. I think you're missing the point, Kelly said, her voice trembling slightly with emotion. The point is that even if everything is a performance like you say, it still matters what we perform. I choose to perform kindness. What are you performing right now? The question hung in the air like a bomb about to explode. Matt's expression hardened at Kelly's question. What am I performing? I'm performing honesty, which apparently is too much for you to handle. Honesty? Kelly let out a short, sharp laugh. You think you're being honest? You're being condescending. There's a difference. I'm being condescending because I'm challenging your worldview. Matt asked, his voice dripping with sarcasm. That's convenient. Kelly leaned forward, her eyes locked on his. No, you're being condescending because you're talking down to me like I'm naive, like I don't understand the industry I've been in for over 20 years. I understand it just fine, Matt. I just choose to approach it differently than you do. Your approach is to pretend, Matt said flatly. You pretend everything is sunshine and positivity and connection, but that's not the whole truth, is it? It's my truth, Kelly insisted. And it's the truth for a lot of people. Just because you don't believe in genuine human connection anymore doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Matt laughed, a bitter sound that echoed through the studio. You keep saying I don't believe in connection. I believe in it. I just don't believe it happens under studio lights with cameras rolling and producers timing every segment. Then why are you here? Kelly asked, her frustration boiling over. Seriously, Matt, why did you agree to come on this show if you think it's all meaningless to make exactly this point? Matt said, someone has to pull back the curtain. Someone has to say what everyone's thinking, but is too afraid to admit. Kelly shook her head in disbelief. You think everyone's thinking this? You think my audience, the people who support this show, think it's all fake? I think they know it on some level, Matt replied. They just don't want to admit it, because then they'd have to confront how much of their own lives are performance, too. The audience gasped. Several people shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Kelly's face went from red to almost purple. Excuse me? Now you're psychoanalyzing my audience. I'm stating facts, Matt said calmly, which only seemed to make Kelly angrier. Those aren't facts, those are opinions, Kelly fired back. And pretty insulting ones at that. These people took time out of their day to be here, and you're telling them their lives are fake. I'm saying we all perform, Matt clarified, at work, at home, on social media. We curate versions of ourselves. That's not an insult. That's just how modern life works. But that's not what you said. Kelly pointed out, her voice sharp. You said everything is fake. You said genuine connection doesn't happen here. You're moving the goalposts every time I call you out. Matt sighed heavily. I'm trying to have a nuanced conversation, and you're reducing it to sound bites. Nuanced. Kelly's voice rose an octave. You came out here guns blazing, attacking everything about what we do, and now you want to claim nuance. That's rich, Matt. That's really rich. I'm not attacking you personally, Matt said, though his tone suggested otherwise. I'm critiquing the system. The system that made you a millionaire? Kelly shot back. The system that turned you into a household name? That system? Matt's eyes narrowed. So, because I've benefited from it, I can't critique it. That's your argument? No, my argument is that you're a hypocrite, Kelly said. And the audience gasped again. You sit there acting superior, talking about how fake everything is, but you're still here. You're still taking the roles, doing the interviews, cashing the checks. If you really believed what you're saying, you'd walk away. And do what? Matt challenged. Live in the woods, become a hermit. That's a ridiculous standard. No. What's ridiculous is expecting me to sit here and nod along while you insult my life's work, Kelly said, her voice shaking now. I built this show from the ground up. I pour my heart into every episode, and you have the audacity to sit in that chair and tell me it means nothing. I never said it means nothing, Matt protested. You're putting words in my mouth. Then what are you saying? Kelly demanded. Because from where I'm sitting, you've done nothing but tear down everything I believe in. So please enlighten me. What's your actual point? Matt paused, seeming to choose his words carefully. My point is that we've lost something. We've traded authenticity for likability. We've traded truth for comfort, and shows like this, they're part of the problem. Kelly stood up. Something that clearly wasn't planned based on the shocked reactions from the crew. You know what your problem is, Matt? You think being negative makes you smart. You think tearing things down makes you deep, but all it makes you is lonely. Lonely? Matt stood up, too, matching her energy. That's your diagnosis. I'm lonely. Yes, Kelly said firmly. Because happy people don't come on talk shows to burn bridges. Happy people don't need to make everyone else feel small to feel big. And authentic people, truly authentic people, don't spend all their time pointing out how fake everyone else is. The studio was in complete chaos now. Producers were rushing around. The audience was murmuring loudly, and the cameras kept rolling, capturing every second. Matt stepped closer to Kelly's desk. You want to talk about authentic? Let's talk about how you use your personal struggles as content. Your divorce, your weight, your childhood. You package trauma and sell it as relatability. Kelly's eyes filled with tears, but her voice stayed strong. I share my life because it helps people. Because when I talk about my struggles, people write to me and tell me they felt less alone. That's not selling trauma. That's being human. In front of millions of people, Matt added. For money? Yes, for money, Kelly admitted without shame. Because this is my job. But the fact that I get paid doesn't make my experiences less real. It doesn't make the connections I form less valid. Connections through a screen. Matt scoffed. Parasocial relationships. They're not real, Kelly. They're real to the people having them. Kelly. Insisted. And who are you to decide what's real for other people? Who appointed you the judge of everyone else's experiences? Matt opened his mouth to respond, but Kelly cut him off. No, I'm talking now. You've had your say, and now it's my turn. You come here with this intellectual superiority complex, acting like you figured out some secret about life that the rest of us are too dumb to see. But all you've really figured out is how to be miserable and make it everyone else's problem. I'm not miserable, Matt said. But his voice lacked conviction. Yes, you are, Kelly said softly. And somehow that was more powerful than her anger had been. And I feel sorry for you because there is beauty in this world. There is genuine connection. There are real moments that matter. But you're so busy being cynical that you can't see any of it. Matt stood there speechless for the first time since the interview began. Kelly took a deep breath, wiping her eyes. I think we're done here. We're in the middle of an interview. Matt said weakly. No. Kelly corrected him. We're in the middle of you disrespecting me, my show, my audience, and everything I've worked for. And I'm ending it. I'm done. Matt looked around as if expecting someone to intervene. You can't just kick me off. It's my show, Kelly said, her voice steady as steel. I can do whatever I want, and right now, I want you to leave. The silence that followed Kelly's words was deafening. Matt stood frozen, clearly not expecting this turn of events. He looked at the cameras, then back at Kelly, his face cycling through emotions. Disbelief, anger, embarrassment. You're serious, he said, his voice low. Completely, Kelly replied, not backing down an inch. I gave you the opportunity to have a conversation. You chose to have a confrontation. Now I'm choosing to end it. Matt let out a harsh laugh. This is unbelievable. You can't handle one person challenging you, so you just shut it down. Challenging me? Kelly repeated, her voice rising again. Matt, you haven't challenged me. You've insulted me. There's a difference between intellectual discourse and whatever this has been. This is exactly what I'm talking about, Matt said, gesturing wildly. The moment someone doesn't play along with your scripted version of reality, you can't deal with it. Kelly crossed her arms. No. The moment someone comes into my house and disrespects me, I show them the door. That's not about scripts or reality or any of your philosophical nonsense. That's about basic human decency. Something you seem to have forgotten. Ooh, basic human decency, Matt repeated mockingly. coming from someone who makes a living off exploiting people's emotions. Kelly's face went pale, then flushed red again. Her hands were shaking, but her voice remained strong. Get out. Get out of my studio right now. Matt didn't move. He stood there defiant, as if daring her to make him leave. The audience was completely silent now, every eye fixed on the two of them. You could hear people breathing in the quietness of the studio. Did you hear me? Kelly asked, her voice dangerously calm. I said get out. And if I don't, Matt challenged. What are you going to do, Kelly? Have security drag me out? That'll look great for your wholesome brand. Kelly picked up her phone from the desk and pressed a button. Within seconds, 2 security guards appeared from the wings. The audience gasped collectively. This wasn't just television drama anymore. This was really happening. Escort him out, Kelly said simply, not taking her eyes off Matt. The security guards approached Matt cautiously. He looked at them, then back at Kelly, his expression a mixture of shock and rage. You're actually doing this. You gave me no choice, Kelly said. I asked you to leave. You refused. These are the consequences. Consequences. Matt laughed bitterly. You're throwing me out for telling the truth. No. Kelly corrected him, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. I'm throwing you out for being cruel. Truth without compassion is just cruelty, Matt. And I don't allow cruelty in my space. One of the security guards gently touched Matt's arm. Sir, please come with us. Matt jerked his arm away. Don't touch me. He looked back at Kelly one more time. You know what? Fine. I'll leave. But this just proves everything I said. You can't handle reality. This is my reality, Kelly said firmly. And in my reality, I don't let people treat me like garbage. I spent too many years of my life letting people make me feel small. I'm not doing it anymore. Not for you. Not for anyone. The audience erupted in applause. It started with one person, then spread through the entire studio like wildfire. People were standing, clapping, some even cheering. Matt looked around at them, his face a mask of disbelief. Wow, he said, shaking his head. Just wow, this is really happening. Yes, it is, Kelly said over the applause. And you brought it on yourself? Matt started walking toward the exit, the security guards following closely behind him. But he stopped halfway and turned back around. You know what the saddest part is, Kelly? You actually believe you're the hero here. Kelly met his gaze without flinching. I don't need to be a hero. I just need to be someone who stands up for herself. Maybe you should try it sometime instead of tearing everyone else down. I was standing up for something, Matt protested. I was standing up for truth. No, Kelly said, and her voice was softer now, almost sad. You were standing on top of everyone else, so you could feel tall. That's not the same thing. Matt stared at her for a long moment. And for just a second, something flickered across his face. Doubt, maybe, or recognition. But then it was gone, replaced by that same defiant smirk he'd worn throughout the interview. Goodbye, Kelly, he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Enjoy your fake little world. Goodbye, Matt, Kelly replied. I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for. Matt turned and walked out, the security guards flanking him. The audience continued to applaud as he disappeared through the exit. Kelly stood at her desk, visibly shaking, tears streaming down her face now that he was gone. She looked at the cameras, then at her audience, and let out a shaky breath. Well, she said, her voice cracking. Slightly. That was not how I planned to spend my afternoon. The audience laughed, a release of all the tension that had built up. Kelly wiped her eyes, smearing her mascara. I'm sorry you all had to witness that. I'm sorry it got so ugly, but I'm not sorry for standing up for myself. More applause. Kelly nodded, trying to compose herself. I've been doing this for a long time. I've interviewed hundreds of people, and I've always believed that there's good in everyone, that if you approach people with kindness and openness, they'll meet you there. But sometimes someone shows you that they're not interested in kindness. They're interested in conflict. And when that happens, you have 2 choices. You can let them run over you, or you can hold your ground. She paused, looking directly at the camera. I chose to hold my ground. Maybe that makes me unprofessional. Maybe that makes me unable to handle criticism, like he said. But I don't think so. I think it makes me human. I think it makes me someone who knows her worth. The audience was completely silent now, hanging on her every word. Kelly's voice grew stronger as she continued. Because here's the thing that people like that don't understand. Being kind doesn't make you weak. Being positive doesn't make you naive. And believing in genuine connection doesn't make you stupid. Those are strengths, not weaknesses. and I refuse to let anyone make me feel bad about choosing to see the good in the world. She took another deep breath. I do this show because I love it. I love talking to people. I love hearing their stories. I love making people laugh. And yes, maybe it is all a performance on some level. Maybe we are all playing roles. But if I'm going to play a role, I'm going to play someone who lifts people up instead of tearing them down. I'm going to play someone who chooses joy over cynicism. And if that makes me fake in his eyes, then I'll wear that badge proudly. The applause was thunderous. Now, Kelly smiled through her tears, clearly moved by the support. Thank you, she said softly. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting this show, and thank you for reminding me why I do this. She looked around the studio at the faces of the audience members, the crew, the cameras. We're going to take a break, she announced. And when we come back, we're going to do what we do best. We're going to have some fun. We're going to laugh. And we're going to remember that life is too short to spend it being miserable. As the show cut to commercial, Kelly sat back down at her desk, her hands still trembling. But there was something different about her now, something stronger. She had been tested in the most public way possible, and she had passed. She had stood up for herself, for her show, for her beliefs. And in doing so, she had proven that kindness isn't weakness, that positivity isn't naivety, that choosing to see the good in the world doesn't make you blind to its darkness. It makes you brave enough to shine a light into it. So, what do you think? Was Kelly right to kick Matt off her show, or should she have let him continue? Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that button now because you never know what crazy story we're going to cover next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.